So, breaking news coming out from Adam Schefter: Terry McLaurin has officially requested to be traded from the Washington Commanders. Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, this has been a story that I had been covering and discussing, and kind of the pros and cons and the different ways to kind of potentially handle this, whether it's from Terry McLaurin's perspective or the Washington Commanders' perspective. And I did surprisingly get a lot of pushback, which was weird to me. People were saying this is not a real story. Stop making stuff up. And like, it's always like, this is we're going based off the reporting, and these sometimes you just have to take things at face value. And here we are. And what this really now comes down to is kind of who blinks first, right? Like, how much do the Commanders really, do the Commanders really, really, truly want Terry McLaurin back or not, right? Like, if they were trying to play hardball with him and he's like, fine, just trade me, I'm not doing this. Like, because they maybe felt that they had the leverage and the power, and maybe they break first. Or is it just kind of, they're like, no, we're standing firm, man. Like, this is how we want to handle the situation. And if not, then we'll move on from you. But the problem with them moving on from Terry McLaurin now is that I don't see how they get another piece back that can help them at least offensively, like another wide receiver. Then that now you now are more at the mercy of Debo. And I like Debo as a number two, right? I like the offense still running through Terry McLaurin outside of obviously Jaden Daniels. We know that. But, in terms of the true weapons you're going to work from, and then having Debo as this extra part, right? This extra piece, he becomes now the foundation. I don't love that personally. I personally don't love it. Doesn't mean that it's not going to work. Doesn't mean that they're not going to have a lot of success. But the whole idea from my viewpoint was having Debo, Terry McLaurin, still have a lot of production out of Zach Ertz, a fortified O-line, which would also lead to a better run game, year two with Jaden Daniels. Everything just felt like you were going to be greater than the sum of the parts. You'll still have a ton of success without Terry McLaurin, but it is a substantial loss. And I do believe that. And if you move on from him, the only way you get someone back, it's like this would have maybe worked. And again, I still don't even see how this would have worked. But like in a weird situation where, T. Higgins was so frustrated and was like, get me out of Cincinnati. And Terry McLaurin's like, get me out of Washington. And you can kind of like swap, right? Like Terry McLaurin was more willing to take like a little bit less than T. Higgins. Like, I don't know. And the Commanders were more willing to sign T. Higgins to a longer deal because of like age and stuff. Like, or they just believe that he's better. Like, or maybe like even like a Pickens type situation where it's like, okay, we can kind of get this guy on a rental now because we don't really have to pay him much. Now he's on a prove it deal. And like, if it's a good thing, then we'll pay him because he's a young enough wide receiver where we can pay him long term. Or if it doesn't work, we can just move on from it. It kind of keeps your options a little bit more open. I don't see what those moves are now. So any team that's willing to give up their wide receiver right now, which I don't know any team, the only piece you're going to get then is going to be like a lesser, like clearly a receiver that's like not even close to what Terry McLaurin can bring. Not even close. And then now you're talking about draft picks, and that helps you next year, obviously, but not even really. Like, that helps you like 2 years from down the line, 3 years maybe, right? Like, you're not going to expect, you typically don't draft a wide receiver, and then in year one, it's just like, boom, awesome, great, elite. They're helping you win a Super Bowl like today. It's typically not how it happens. It does take a minute or two. And then you're just like kind of in this weird situation where you're like, all right, like, first off, you also got to really nail that draft pick, right? There's no margin of error there because you're now the timeline of when it's going to start to be like, we got to pay Jaden. Zach Ertz now is officially like, reached that breaking point where it's like, all right, we can't rely on him now. You maybe now even have to look at a more upgraded run game because that's also aging. Like, it's like your timeline now is slightly off. And the moves that you made this offseason, which is why you went out and got a Debo, really was signaling we're trying to win now. Even some of the trades that you made or last season defensively, right? Like some of the ages that and the pieces that you were collecting was kind of like, we're going for it right now. We got Jaden Daniels on a rookie deal. Like, this is kind of like the most flexibility that we're ever going to have throughout his entire career. Like, that's just a fact. So like, let's make some moves. Like, I do favor the whole let's go for it right now. Because in a lot of ways, if you can't make aggressive moves when you have the most level of flexibility and resilience to mistakes, because you're not paying, your quarterback like $300 million, whatever the heck the contract's going to end up being, well, then what makes you think that you're going to be able to make the really smart, aggressive moves when now you're backed even more into a corner and you have even less ability to like make moves? Like, that's kind of like you either can make the moves or you can't. So either trust yourself that after you have to pay Jaden and you have a couple other more expensive contracts, that you're still going to be able to find ways to get the job done. And if you can't, well then like it's like, well then I don't really trust your ability then to run a team then, honestly. And then it's like, well then, and then what good are you? Like, you can only build a team when you have a quarterback, an amazing quarterback on a rookie deal. Well then it's like, then you're not really worth as much as people want to pretend you are. And I'm not saying that that's a truth statement in terms of specifically how the Commanders are run. I'm just saying, like, you got to trust your ability to make moves down the line, no matter what situation is. And so if you're trying to win right now, really what I'm trying to argue and emphasize is, don't sacrifice today. You're building a team to win right now, and you have the most freedom and flexibility and resilience in terms of team construction. So it's like, show me what you got. Like, show me what you got right now. Show me what you can do. And that's why this is already a mess, a big mess, because if you were going to trade Terry McLaurin, and this was all going to happen, before the draft would have made 1,000 times more sense. There were then other moves to make. Like, that's really what I'm also trying to like greatly emphasize. There were other moves that you could have made. Other receivers, even like a DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not saying it was ideal, but like, there were just other moves that you could have said, all right, maybe even DK Metcalf. Like, and again, I'm not saying you would want those things, but my point is that there was options. Way more options than there are now. That's for sure. Undeniable. And at least maybe you even draft capital this year, and then maybe you draft a receiver. Like, I don't know. Like, it's hard to know who would officially be trading for Terry McLaurin. So it's just like a weird situation. It's a messier situation than you would want, honestly. And even if now, like, the Commanders blink and say, okay, fine, Terry, we'll pay you, it still became so much uglier than it needed to be. And I'm a firm believer that even if they end up paying him all the money that he wanted, like, Terry McLaurin is still going to be incredibly bitter. We can always say, oh, it's business, it's just the way it goes. It's just relationships do kind of break, and it just changes the energy. It changes the energy. It changes what you're, how what you're willing to do for said franchise. And it really may be like the first time that like that bubble gets popped of like, this is a family, this is a family, this is a family. And it's just like, ask any player. Sometimes it is a family, sometimes it's not. And when that little family bubble gets popped, it just changes, man. Things change. And so this is just in a year that you're kind of saying, hey, this is a year that the Commanders can like legitimately make a run for the first time in like decades, right? I mean, like, to like really be right there, to be like, we are a legitimate Super Bowl contender. You're missing your number one target for your second year quarterback, who had an unbelievable year, the best rookie year of all time. And now you're like, all right, we're not even going to be able to move on from him and give him something immediate in return. It'll maybe be draft cap. It'll either be a lower level receiver or maybe a defensive player, which is nice. Again, like, that's all well and good, but like, not enough. And then most likely some sort of draft capital. And again, I don't know if Terry McLaurin's getting a first round draft pick. Like, I mean, I don't know about that right now. I mean, it's hard to gauge. It's hard, honestly, it really is. But like, I don't know. Then you get a second round pick. Like, I don't know. Then you may potentially get like a rookie second round wide receiver who most likely won't be, even if he ends up being great, most likely truly won't be great and really help this team get over the hump if they don't get over the hump this coming year. In like 2027, 2028, like, it just takes time. And then it's like, all right, now we got to pay Jaden. Now Zach Ertz is gone. Now Cliff Kingsbury's gone. Now Debo's too old, and Debo's is not going to be who he was. Like, it just all gets messy, man. So this got messy. This really did. I'm trying to figure out how to process it all in real time, and it's just messy. This is a real thing. This is a real thing. I wouldn't downplay it. I honestly wouldn't. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Washington Commanders and Terry McLaurin just not seeing eye to eye? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.